This next edition of the Value Exchange podcast. I'm Annabelle Lambert and I'm here with my regular co-host Rob Pye. Say hello, Rob Pye.
Hi, Annabelle. Hi, Giovanni. Good morning.
As Rob just has given insight, we are delighted today to be joined by Giovanni Gambacorta. I hope I've pronounced that correctly, who is based in Belgium, who was kindly introduced to us by our good friend Michelle Bowens. Hello, good friend Michelle. We have come together around our initiative called the Commons Fund. Giovanni is working in community-driven economic growth, I think is sort of the words that describe part of what he's doing in Belgium and why we connected. But this is, I'm sure we will discuss that. But just to get things going, Giovanni, please do tell us a little about yourself.
So hello, everybody. So about me. So right now I am not an academic, so more autodidact researcher, and I always have had that question: how can we improve the situation where we are in? Because we are in a kind of a meta crisis, like multidimensional crisis, like regarding humans, civilization, system of values, economic, environmental, geopolitics, and as we can see, the actuality, what's happening right now at the global scale is pretty preoccupying. And so we have that crisis, and how can we all become part of a solution? And so that was my the question that drives me, and I have come to money and trade. So what can we do with money, and what is trade and how it works? And so I started like almost getting back to the Socratic method, like interrogating what is money, what is trade, what is exchange, like getting back to the very like fundamental definition of what these things are, like without any ideology, like no money, no capitalism, no communism. What is money and what is an exchange? And so pretty amusingly, you get back, when you evacuate ideologies, you get back to pure almost physics. Like physics is a phenomenon that is, and it's not neutral. It's not about neutrality. It has an impulse. It has electric energy, magnetic energy, so it attracts and it expands. And that was where I get back to, like to the very, I would say, the simple truth of what is. Oh, so money. What is money? Money is an universal mean to exchange things against another. It's a translator value. This is what it is. After you have central banks, you have accumulation phenomena, you have competition all over this. Like there is all a fuss on that mean of exchange, which is money. And after the let's say the degenerative behaviors and action starts, but basically at the very beginning, before any ideology or intention, like money is just a mean that allows you to exchange things because it translates the value of all things within it. That is money. And it's good.
Interesting, just as a maybe a slight distraction to who you are, which we're going to get back to that. But I did. There is a film produced. I think it's some European people called The Waterworks of Money. We'll put a link in the video when we publish it. But The Waterworks of Money is not a Socratic discussion about, money is a means of exchange or store of value or what, but it characterizes the system of money in a visual way as if it was water, and it produces this most complex visualization of money as water flowing between banks and citizens and etc. And it just shows what maybe money has become rather than what it is. As you say, money is a means of exchange, and the link between the culture that has emerged from money as opposed to what it might have been 5,000 years ago, 5,000, a long time ago, the emergence of debt, the emergence of etc. So we could talk about this forever, but I want to ask you.
I like that.
You said, yeah, I want to go.
So would I.
I want to talk about you because you started with saying, this is my driver. I'm really interested in people, and then I got to money. But I want to say, how did you get to there? Why is this important? Some people work for a bank all their life and never ask that question that you've asked, because they just go into work and they lend people money, or they work for a bank, or they never have a Socratic discussion with themselves or anyone else. So why are you doing what you're doing? Where did it come from?
Wow, I would say it can come from far away. Like as long as I remember, so I was, I think, 7 or 8, rather 7, and there was the first Gulf War in 1991, and it was on television. And I think everybody remember these things. You can put classical music and have all these bombs that they look like a fantastic magical firework. Like it was green and in the night. And I was like a little child in front of the TV. And I was like, wow, Dad, what is this? It looks, what are they celebrating? And my dad told me, well, it's a war, son. And I was like war, like soldiers and killing. And I mean, it looks like fun. It's a beautiful thing. And he told me, yeah, it's they and I remember that sentence. It's they make it look beautiful because it's dirty, like so. And I think at 7 I start to understand that the TV was all about showing things, and it hasn't really left me. So I have been always very suspicious to the images of what is presented. And because what I understood is obviously war is killing people, and how can the TV make it look like something like a light show, like a bright full ballet of things traveling in the sky. And and so, well, it's not like at 7 I took my card at my membership at the Communist Party, but
damn, that would have been a story.
and but something started, like an awareness, I would say. And so it evolved, like in many manners. And so the second, I would say, main fact is that in 99, so I was 16, and that year for philosophy class and French class, I had to read 2 books. One was The Brave New World, and the other one was 1984. And that also went out Fight Club and The Matrix. And by having read
Oh my
these two
God.
books, I took these two movies like literally, like it was like literal. It wasn't movies, it was documentaries. And by having seen these movies, I have took these books like also futuristic, informed of a documentary about the future. So I went squeezed into space time, and it's like I had a glimpse at the future, what the future would look like. And so at 16, let's say I has been by fate or destiny, whatever, of the dystopian potential of our future. And so from that moment, I said, well, I don't want to participate to that dystopy. And I have to try to contribute, for this not to happen and then to something else happening. So
Wonderful.
that was
So,
a
so
bit the
sorry,
course.
just before we forget, I listened to George Orwell's Brave New World and 1984 very recently, within the last 1 or 2 years, having not read them for 20 years, probably before that. And you can now get a ebook, audiobook, with Stephen Fry, who's a very famous British actor, who reads it, and it's quite amazing when you read it now. Of actually, this is reality. You see it, and you see. So you, it's also amazing. Every interview we do, we've done over 60 of these now, that there's normally one memory when you're 7, 8, 10, 12, young, that just it will stay with you, stay forever, and then your whole life is that memory. You never forget it. So you put the fireworks of the Gulf War with 1984 dystopia, and then it's like, that's it, okay. But that, this journey for life is really very powerful story. Thank you for sharing. So I wanted to just pause on that. So that's a little bit of the why, and then how did it. So some more stories about what have you before today, what have you actually done, what have you done that has been informed by those, the
Where has it taken
the
you?
thoughts of dystopia. Maybe some examples about, not when you're 7, but maybe much more recently,
Mhm.
how projects you've been involved with or work that you've done that has been informed by those early memories.
Okay, so I think, then I'm 16, so it's 99, and then 2001, you have the 9/11 event, and you have a war starting in the Middle East, like US led coalition against Afghanistan. So I'm 18. And well, I'm in my first marches, like anti-war and so on. We were not that much, because at that time it was considered like a pretty legitimate answer. Because everybody was in shock, like, but then started like the second Gulf War, like in 2003. We were many more. And so I have been, since I entered like the official administrative adulthood, I entered like the 21st century, marching against war and marching for peace. And so it was all a purpose of always trying, being a part of, And you had also like I think it was in '99 too, like the first alter mondialist like marches, like in Seattle, like it
Mhm.
was against the
Yeah.
World Trade Organization,
Oh,
WTO,
yeah.
and
Occupy Wall Street and things like that. There's an Occupy
that
movement.
came that was like a continuity
No,
of
later.
this.
Yeah.
Later, with after the aftermath of the 2007-2008 crisis, and so yeah, I have always been into that moves like GMO. We were going to like destruction of fields, of experimental fields, struggling against advertising into like, why are we selling burgers and with giant images of burgers when all the speech is to eat healthy, and like, this kind of cognitive dissonance, urban space and urban material you can be confronted with. It's like, and all the time. And but then I was how to say also is it was always the political left which was leading all these activities. And at the moment, let's say I start to get backwards from like the left right lecture lecture of politics. I went to more not horizontal but vertical, which means grassroots elites, deterritorialized elites. And so there, that was a big change. Like, it was a complete shift, or we can say like a pole shift, because all my friends were lefties, and suddenly I'm like, yeah, but the left is part of the problem. And
We're all part of the problem.
yeah, but then we are part of
So
the
we must all
solution
be part
too.
of the
But
solution. Yeah. Yeah.
I stepped out of what I call ideologies, and that now I really conceive like a programmatic sectarian way of thinking. And now my way is to get back to corporalities, so physiology, like to physics, and to feel things with our heart, with our intuition, even with our brain, but the brain only afterwards. Like, the first organ we that have a contact is senses. It's our skin, which is the biggest organ we do have. So, and it's a pure organ of sensitivity. And to me, somehow, it's kind of meaningful.
And something we sort of see emerging is, we have problems about silos, like left, right, up, down, top, bottom, religion, Scientology, physics, where that we find a truth, and then everybody who's not in that truth is outside of that truth, and we're all looking for something that is in danger of being another silo. But actually, when you have these kind of conversations, whether someone is old, young, rich, poor, left, right, and you just say, your childhood, actually everybody is in the same box. We're really all human beings, that we're not naturally in one religion or another. We're just all the same, but we're trying to find out something that makes sense to our very tiny brains,
Mhm.
and we end up, being these. But why do we need to do that? Because so again, thank you very much, Giovanni, for that, because we all have skin we'll feel, we smell, we breathe, we eat. These are not religions. They're just things we do. We're very simple animals, really. We just pretend we're not. Okay, so I don't know where to go from here, Annabelle. Where is
I'm just interested in sort of what experiences you have of where you've how are you challenging this way that we've constructed life at the moment, which we're finding quite difficult now to deal with, or some of us are finding it more difficult than others, but I feel we're on we have to have an awakening soon, because we're all just killing ourselves by working far too hard, doing things that really don't matter. Is a very sweeping and grand statement, but what are you finding yourself?
So Giovanni, kind of like, we've got skin, we're breathing, have Socratic dialogue with money. These are ways of challenging the way we're thinking. Left, right, up, down. It seems like you are challenging, but is that, we'll get on to the project, but how are we challenging is Annabelle's question. Is that Annabelle's question? Is that what you're...
I'm interested in what Giovanni is doing that is sort of enabling him to realize some of his thinking. It's like, I have this thought, then how does that emerge? What happens in my life? How does that affect others? How do I mean, we talked earlier about how you're good at talking with people and helping people understand and moving people on. How's that sort of emerging in your environment, in your life, what you're doing now? Where is it having impact?
So to me now, it's like I have found great answers into silencing myself. Pretty paradoxically, because when you are passion driven, you can be very talkative, very expansive about what you're doing. But like right now, I feel a bit like I don't know if you've seen that movie Idiocracy. And so, well, it's a guy in the future. He arrives and he's a very random guy. But in the future, everybody, like, the IQ has like really dropped down like never before. And we are entering that phase currently, like right now. Like IQ results in the western part of the world are going. They are slipping down. And so in that future, like the people, they can grow food because they think that you have to grow food with Coca-Cola, and so the vegetable don't grow up. And so you have that guy, he comes and he say, yeah, but what are you doing? You need to grow food with the water. And everybody is laughing at him, like, but you're stupid, no. And so it's just because Coca-Cola took over the power, and they sell their Coca-Cola even to grow the food, but the food don't grow. But Coca-Cola sells more Coca-Cola, and it's good. And so finally, like, there's in a place, they put water and they see that the food grow, and so the guy becomes a genius. And I feel I'm a bit that genius guy, because I say you have to put the water, but you are not a genius because you say you put the water, because it's common knowledge. But it's with I mean silence. I think it's because we have evolved a certain way where everything became very complicated. Like the banker that Rob was talking about. The guy, he has studied engineer, trade engineer, MBA, blah, 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 blah. But he has never asked back the simple questions. He entered straight into an education model where he has to do this and do that and do that, and not interrogate things. And so everything is complicated and it looks very like scientific and technical and blah blah. But finally, when you ask the question, guy, it's an emotion, it's greed, it's a phenomenon, it's scarcity. And here I'm talking about generosity and prosperity. So let's get back to the simple things, like the simple element. And like right now, so to answer now your question is like from to get back to physiology, it's I think we are still ruled by a way of thinking like very Newtonian, like very, it's about gravity, the gravitational force, like the bigger takes it all. And now, what I'm trying to offer or propose as a perspective, it's relativity. Like, what is the point of view? Alternating point of view. And it's not only about the bigger. What is the point of view of the small, of the little parts? And I think we are entering that phase, like, and getting out of a phase where the big takes it all. And I think this is the difference between the regen and the degenerative economy, because the big takes it all. It's like he is forgetting himself that he is composed and dependent on all the little things that feeds him. And I think that small feeds the big, and it's rarely the opposite.
So it's really, I think it's a another very powerful story, Giovanni. That we need to stop thinking that Coca-Cola is the answer, and just stop talking and just do some meditation or breathing. I see an emergence of people having a well-being crisis, a life crisis, a work crisis, a health crisis, a you know uh, physiological or nutritional or whatever. But actually, the answers are just to stop and take yourself back a bit. Really, there's not a lot of money in well-being, because actually well-being could be just sitting at the top of a mountain and breathing for some hours. So I think this is a fantastic moment in the interview to start talking about your project within the Commons Fund and the project of citizen credit and what your ideas and the movement are, because I think that the story of how you've got to this project is almost as important as the project itself, because obviously this project is informed by all the thinking that Giovanni's done before it. So you have a project which is about local citizen finance, citizen credit.
Mhm.
What? Just explain to the audience a little bit about this, your ideas and the work that you're doing to develop these projects locally.
Okay, so the project is temporarily called the SCCS. So in English, so it's the Supportive Citizen Credit System. So the idea is like the water, like we have water, and that water is our savings. And the savings generally, like pure savings. I've went on different countries: Italy, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany. Like the savings generally amount, like pure the commodities of the savings amounts to generally something going from half the yearly GDP to a full GDP, depending if a country is a really big saver. And I was like, but all of this is like sleeping money, and the people, they are losing it because we are entering in inflation phases. Like some might even say hyperinflation phase. So let's see where the future leads. But the idea was to how can we we are a part of the solution if we activate these savings. and we make them work in order to create the type of territories where we want to live. And so the idea is to turn these savings into credits and then investments, which actually allows two main things. It has two big advantages. The first one is through the credit activity, you get a prime. You call this like a little bonus, because it's a credit you give to an entrepreneur. And so that allows your money to not be beaten. Actually, you can beat inflation. So for little savers, I think it's a great point. The second positive point, it's obviously you decide to what you invest. And so you can create territories that will look the way you want them to be. So if you, and it's going to be then need based, because you will invest in things you need, which also mean for the guy receiving the investment that he will have a customer for sure. Like, so even the risk of the credit activity is getting super low, because the presence of that new enterprise coming on a territory is based on the demand. So, and here we also do a little inversion, because generally on a territory, a guy come, it's like in my neighborhood, you have 5 kebab shop on a 200 square meters. 3 of them are empty. Is it based on the need of the people living in my hood? No. The offer come because they find a little local and it's cheap and and they open a kebab. Well, good, but we don't need you. So you're gonna go bankrupt. And here it's different. So we also go do the opposite. The demand generates, let's say, an offer, a call for an offer, and we need you. And so if we need you, basically you're gonna have customers, because we want bread, or we want shoes, or we want clothes, or we want a bike shop, like whatever type of things you need. And so first you create job, you create prosperity, you create a territory that answers most specifically to your needs, and you make money out of it, and the guy make money with your money. Enfin, so everybody wins. So, and this is a shared prosperity scheme. And so this is the supportive citizen credit system.
Wonderful. And I must come back to, I haven't seen the film, but Idiocracy and Coca-Cola, because when we were doing the analysis for the Commons Fund, which is a global fund, why we chose private capital. And if I say that you talk about GDP, so we are like money, we've developed this economic culture where we're obsessing about this thing, GDP. It's not about what people need, not even about what they want. It's just like some arbitrary science, like the Coca-Cola of Idiocracy. So global GDP by 2027 is forecasted to be 127 trillion. 127 trillion, so 1,000 billion, 127,000, lots of zeros, 127,000. But the private savings, all of the wealth in the world is forecast to be 629 trillion. So even if we measure, all the kebab shops in the world, we would not get where this global wealth is, which is almost 6 times what the actual kebab shops would add up to if you add all of the output, which says that there's a lot of Coca-Cola in the 627 trillion, because this is leveraged finance. This is actually ideas of money which are not real. This is This is actually not. So the real economy globally is almost 6 times less than people's. So what you're describing in the Citizen project is that actually you ask people to get close to the kebab shops and say, do we need 6 kebab shops, or well, I still want 1 kebab shop, or maybe even 2 kebab shops, but why do we need 6? And I think this is quite interesting, because people have got further and further and further away from the money, because they want to put it in a hedge fund that is speculating on which currency will collapse next, or a venture capital. That's about something that's not real. It's about watering your plants with Coca-Cola. And actually, how could we get closer to what is real in the world? And I think that's what's very inspiring about your project. It says, okay, I live here. What do I need? What do I want? What would I like? And this is why in the Commons Fund, we have asked the projects to decide what their needs are in terms of priorities, not Annabelle and Rob. So there was quite a first meeting of people saying, no, you decide, Annabelle and Rob, you've been doing this for 20 years. It's like, well, why would we decide what Giovanni's project is more important than Michelle's project, or John or Mary? It's like, surely they can do that, because it's like, oh, it's going to be difficult. Yes, but that's the point. It's going to be difficult. So what are some of the difficulties, Giovanni, that you see in making, implementing the project? What are some of the problems you need to solve to? I see the vision. You must have come across problems.
I think like the main problem is to start, because after, and it's to find the people that will be let's chip, let's put X amount of savings or money, because like the technical stuff, everything is already there to manage complexity, like highly decentralized things, but it's not nor exactly centralized nor decentralized. It's like the center is everywhere, the periphery is nowhere, like blah blah. And so I mean, it's how to start with people, because like somehow, like in Belgium, like the tax rate of is 60% when you take direct and indirect. So it's not like pooling isn't existing. It's already the majority of what we do. And so it's like, and we do it 60% with people we even don't know that will manage 60% of the wealth we create. They are called the politicians. And so I'm like, I'm talking about 1 or 2% of what we do have, and to manage it like collectively together with the community we are part of. And let's see if we do better than them, because that's also I think it would be a good test and a good trial, because everybody complains about the politicians. Well, let's do politics together. What is politics? It's having a budget, making decision, and starting the work, and trying to do it well. And so I mean, let's start. That's what are we waiting for somehow? Because
and local people, how do they, when you must have talked to people locally about the idea, what is the response been from people in Belgium that you've talked to? Yes, let's, what's the...
Okay, so where am I right now? So right now I have made a kind of, I would call it a consulting tour. Like I went to see economist, trade engineer, like how you call that, like a pooling specialist, people also being in the crypto sphere, like how do they manage with their dApps, decentralized application, DeFi, decentralized finance. So I had to get an interest on all of this and make a tool and Socratically again ask questions. And so right now, like what I had as a feedback is it sounds solid. Like the concept is good. Like nobody has put me on a KO. Like I haven't been lying on the floor after all these encounters. And and so right now what I will need is strong structural partners in order to develop an application or find somebody that has already something and that would like to work that way, and then after create the actual pot.
And I mean, there I guess similarities with cooperative organizations where the organization is owned by the members who actually all work, in a consensus way to support each other, to collaborate. There are banks, there are farmers, there are producers. I'm not sure there are taxi drivers. Not sure there's kebab shops as a cooperative, but certainly many examples of where workers have pooled their energy to do something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So it's not the idea is not new, as in the pooling in banking. There's a number, but I guess the issue is at what point do you hand over the control to an organization that you really don't you don't know. It's not peer to peer. It's not everybody involved all the time. Do you see that technology is a key part of making this real for citizens, or what is the most sort of important ingredients, if you like, of the model in your mind?
Okay, so I mean, I can see like the technology as the secret spice that allows you to scale the level of complexity management, where you can fine tune, like you will have your cooperative banking avatar, and you can fine tune where, where you want to invest, and what scale, like having something very reactive. But of course, like the core and the main ingredient is the human. So this is why I mean you have two type of groups. You have the territorial groups where it's the place where you live with the people that you might not exactly agree with. So, but you need a territory and you need to invest territorially, and then you have your more, like I would say, affinity group that can be people here and there, and that because this is what you really want to do with the people you really want to do it with, then you create other groups so you can split, and I think that like the actual technologies like Web 3.3.0 and the decentralized finance and applications allow that to be highly reactive, highly scalable. But basically, it's always a human. And to me, the human is first, the technology arrives after. And here we have to meet somehow midway.
It's very interesting because we've never used technology like that in all its manifestations, with being very human centric, because the Coca-Cola example you gave with the film the model of a transnational global organization is actually very primitive. It's very much like a constitutional monarchy where the king or the ruler would decide. Putin, you know, president of America, let's invade Afghanistan. But if you then take a human dimension, and then the territory where everyone lives, where probably nobody agrees with each other, and then affinity groups where people might want to do DAO, Web3, or, you know, I'm really interested in other people in the world who like this type of film. You know, they're not in my street, they're just in the world. So how could you govern with that human-centric but multi-dimensional? So you're back to the Matrix again, maybe, where if you become human-centric, technology could indeed be the secret sauce. But I think that's quite an advanced vision compared to how we've used technology. You know, if we integrate all the parts of technology into the human, we might say, I live here, I'm a mother, I'm a carpenter, but I've got an interest in Star Trek. And how can those 4 dimensions actually govern this investment that I make for the needs or wants of, you know, recycling money in my local community, which would be very interesting. I feel we've suddenly gone from level 0 to level 5, or is that just me?
Well, I'm very conscious that we are, we have over and running on our time. I don't want to stop the conversation, of course, because it's super interesting. So where to? Podcast. Yeah, exactly. It won't stop.
Well, I think we should leave the final words to Giovanni to come back on any level that he wants and either summarize or build on that last point, or just any final points. Because you're right, Annabelle, we have used up all of our time very quickly, as always. But
no, here I think there is nothing to be concluded, since you opened a new question, and just to
small one,
like, briefly, it's like no, it's like on Facebook, you know, you're a carpenter. And Facebook is really ugly, like it's really bad. I think like Mark Zuckerberg is in great trouble right now, because his sites are so bad that the day there will be somebody with a bit of money and a bit of good ideas, is dead. So, but whatever, on Facebook, you are a carpenter, you like the group carpenting, and you can interact with people carpenting. You're a mother and you want to know how to naturally feed your baby, you like a group. You are in your community and you want to know what are the cultural activities, there is sure a group. So even on a bad site as Facebook, you can already have all the information you need and create your own communities according to your own interests. And so what I mean is, like, the margin of progression and improvement, to me, is not far away of being equal to infinite. So if we are already there, where everything is already there and where everything is already possible, what will be next with improved and better platforms? And also going with the humans, going back to himself, like we are the source of all these technologies, so we have to also enter the dimension of the technology we are, like that physiologic technology we are. Find peace, wisdom, knowledge, all of this, and I think this is where we have to go.
The interest, and again, it's going to go on forever, but AI. The question is how I govern myself, my self-sovereignty. If I can give that Facebook story you've said, say, govern my life according to that, which would be savings, my children's education, where I live, how I live, what I do. And I could download that, not through some piecemeal reactionary engagement with Facebook, which is it's like watching the TV. It's not a governance. I'm not governing anything in my life. In fact, I'm just looking at media, like this. I'm doing this, I'm scrolling, I'm doing this all the time, scrolling. What would the self-sovereignty and the governance look like if I could program an AI to say, build me a life around this? I don't want to kill people. I don't want to overconsume. I don't want to, I want to govern that. And how could I then apply that to my community? So I think on the one hand, it's already there, but on the other hand, it surely is an incredibly different life. If we could align our life, our one life, govern our one life according to what really matters to us. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry to come back on that last bit, but I think there is a profound, question in there.
May I answer? And I can
be
really
please,
on that one. But I think it's where we put the comment you call that, the indicator. So do we use this as a full substitute of ourselves, or is it an assistant, a help, something like, it's like a knife. A knife is practical, so I don't have to use always my teeth, to cut things. So knife is good, it's practical, and AI is good, and it's practical too. But I think right now also that we have that AI coming out and these very invasive and persuasive technologies, we really, and I think that's also one of the point of CCS and whatever I do, we have to get back and, okay, artificial intelligence is good, but now it's really about time that we take care of our NI, or natural intelligence. This is what we have to take care of, because if not, it's 100% certainty. AI, we are going to be in trouble if we don't take care of that NI, or natural intelligence. That's
okay. Well, that's a really very interesting place to leave it, I think. And so, final words, Annabelle?
No, just thank you very much for sharing with us. Undoubtedly, the conversation will continue. But thank you. Thank you. Until
brilliant
next
interview.
Time.
Thank you so much, Giovanni. Until the next time.
Bye.